Hi everyone and welcome back to the WARNO May Tournament. We are in round 2 now and we have changed maps. We are back on 2 legs. Today we have Keech in red on the right hand side playing as the 2nd Panzer Grenadiers, and on the left hand side we have Frizil playing as the 5th Panzer Division. Both players getting troops forward early, lots of Jäger Aufkall for Frizil to make sure he has control of this. And up here we have a lot of FS Jäger and Scouts for Keech. Keech also using a lot of forward deployed troops here, though hasn't actually pushed into the town. Obviously, respectively, Keech starts closer to this point and Frizil starts closer to this point. This side obviously harder to push into for Frizil because there's a lot more open ground. This side has a lot more cover. There's really only this area that needs to be crossed. You also have the option of pushing down this side and going across here, and a little bit of smoke here will cover your forces coming in this way. So it does appear to be generally the easier point to assault. That said, I've seen plenty of players use Derek's tactic of pushing around this road here to get into Charlie. So this early part of the game, both players obviously capping their side points. It just makes getting units in a little bit easier. There's a lovely bend in the road here, which means it is a straight road to get reinforcements in this side. Over here, however, you do unfortunately have to sort of go up here and then come back around to get into this point. So things take a little bit longer. MW1 coming in there, I assume, going for these Jäger Aufkall rather than the town itself. Let's zoom in on it if we can. Lovely drop. Now, interestingly, if you'll notice here, the unguided bombs, the little bomblets, only half of them have dropped. And this is an issue that was raised to me on Discord just today, in fact. If you target the ground with this bomber currently, it only drops half of its payload. Something to be aware of if you're calling these guys in. Half the payload might be enough to do enough damage to kill what you wanted to kill, but it does mean that your jet is going to stay in the field with half of its load still there. So something to be aware of. You may have to evac it yourself. Cluster bomber coming in here, going for this Leopard 2A3. Keech has spotted it and is getting out. Has managed to evade that. The cluster did get out, even though it was being shot at by that Jeopard, though. Very little over this side for Frizil at the moment. Here he has a lot more. Frizil bringing in some Flam and a command vehicle there. Interestingly, no command for Keech as yet. He is bringing in some Milan at the back there. Has fairly well secured this area too. Will stop anything pushing through the centre. And lots of Pioneer arm busts and some standard Pioneers coming in there, I assume, to reinforce this position. Now, I will note that Keech has lost a few troops here. I wonder if he tried to push them forward, because you'll notice if I hover over the squad, there are a couple dead in the field. He has lost all those forces now. Some Pioneer Flams at this side will be meeting these Jäger Aufkall and killing them if Keech doesn't put anything else in there. He's bringing up some Jaeger, but he could do with some Pioneers or Pioneer Flams in there of some description. Looking at the rest of the map, very little movement at this side. The odd little unit coming in. There will be a capping of this point, which will put the points in the favour of Frizil. Tornado IDS cluster coming in there. I assume going to go for that Leopard again. Is Keech watching? He is. He is reversing. Oh, that was a very nice strike. Nice wide strike. The payload was spread out enough to do a lot of damage. Keech having to call in a replacement to A3 there. That was very unfortunate for Keech. He did try to get out of the way. A little bit of movement here from Keech. I mean, these Jaeger really aren't going to go anywhere. I understand what he's trying to do, but he's allowing the Leopard to get some shots off, which is helpful. And he has killed 2 of those vehicles. The third one is still there. That's actually not a bad idea. He's basically forced those units to expose themselves so he can use the Leopard 105 to attack them. Oh, he didn't manage to kill that one. Is he going to get the second shot off and finish it? Beautiful. Very, very good tactic there from Keech. Basically suiciding half of his squad to force all of those vehicles and units to present themselves so that the Leopard could finish them off. Absolutely fantastic tactic. Not something we see used too often in this game, to be honest. But that is a brilliant idea. I'll be saving that one for later. M48 weirdly just driving up the road there. If those Jaeger Aufkul were a bit further forward, they probably would have killed that. Oh, they're going to get the shot off. Oh, they missed. It's stopping and turning. It's getting hit by that 1A5 as well. It's got hit by... Oh, I think it's dead. Oh, wow. The Leopard has turned to fire at the other Leopard. Jaeger Aufkul beat that quite easily. Other Leopard is dead. Keech doing a great job here at just taking out random units. Cluster Bomber in at the back here. Not quite sure where it's going. And the MW1 there. Is that just going for those Jaeger Aufkul? Yes, it is. And it did kill them. That's a risky move. I mean, there's just not a lot of air defense there, to be fair. But that MW1, still with half of its payload, is still flying around. Even it's been... Oh, and it's dead. It is dead. Oh, that is unfortunate. But people won't realise that that is currently an issue. That is a new bug that has been introduced in the latest patch, we believe. MW1 equally at this side hasn't dropped any payload for Keech yet. I've got to commend Keech for picking off units. Oh, missed with that Milan there. Leopard 2A3 has pulled up now. But I mean, I just can't see Keech getting in here anytime soon. He'd need to do a lot of bombing. He is bringing in that... I'm wondering what he's doing with that MW1. He has 2 MW1s here. But he's just maybe scouting for air defenses? I'm not quite sure. But the longer he leaves them on the field, the more air defenses that Frizil is going to call in. Okay, there are 2 Rolands rolling in right now. Has he dropped? He has. He dropped across the front. Hasn't really done too much damage, though. The units are quite well spread out for Frizil. I'll certainly say that. That's going to take a lot of fire. Oh, he's lucky. Is this MW1 coming in for a strike as well, or is it just still flying around the back? That, again, only dropped half its payload. Seed plane coming in to take out that Jeopard. Oh, it went for the jet instead. And killed it. That is unfortunate. And again, a jet that's just flying around with half a payload. Jeopard managed to kill the seed plane, though. Credit to the Jeopard. Pioneer Flam right around the back there. Now, I can imagine that going for the Sultan, but the Sultan is going to kill it. Really, he needs something with anti-tank around there. Not a lot of movement at the top of the map. It's all going on down here. Keech just, again, suiciding some infantry, just running them out in the open to see what fires at them, and then using the 1A5 to provide fire support. Realistically, it's been pretty effective. He's managed to kill quite a lot with this strategy. Cluster coming in to kill that Leopard 1A5 now, though. I don't think he'll get that out in time. No. He could really do with some more anti-air back here as well, as he's just not killing these tornadoes that are coming in with it. Pioneer Flam is taking pot shots at things there. Good, Keech has spotted them. If he stops all these Leopards, he will make very short work of this squad. There we go, Jeopard's joining in. And there's all the Leopards. I mean, in fairness, Frizzle now knows what he's bringing in, so... MW1 and a cluster coming in. MW1 going for these buildings. Very nice strike. Cluster going for the Jeopard. Good strategy. Clearing a path so he can move units up. That Leopard 203 has taken a lot of damage, I assume, from the other Leopard 203. Now, this area is pretty well defended. Plenty of troops in there from Keech. He's a bit thin on the ground over here. He does have these reinforcements coming in, which I assume are going to head to this side. But he needs to keep reinforcing here. Points are currently neutralized. Frizzle is slightly ahead. Frizzle doing a very good job at maintaining that. I think it'll be very difficult for Keech to push in here. Equally, I think Frizzle will have a very difficult time pushing into Charlie, the way the game is going. Sometimes players who take this kind of skimp on what they're bringing in, but I think in the grand scheme of things, Keech has kept bringing in reinforcements. We do see a lot of Panzer Grenadiers moving in up here, 3 squads, plus the Fernsparer pushing up there. So I think Frizzle is thinking that eventually he's going to make a push here. He does have a lot of tanks lined up here as well. 4 1F5s. Down here at the bottom, we do see the 1F5s coming in for Keech now. Along with that Jeopard. He needs to be careful with that Jeopard though. It's not the most heavily armoured unit to have up at the front. Another Jeopard coming in there to replace the one that was lost. And a command. Lots of reinforcements coming in now. I assume Keech is thinking he wants to try and push into Alpha. Make a little bit of move and get a command vehicle in the corner of it or something so he can neutralize the point and start getting some points himself, because he is behind, and if the game hits 40 minutes, then at the moment Frizzle will win. So it is all about Keech managing to push in here, or indeed Frizzle managing to get into this top point Charlie as well. No further attempts for either player to go round the back. Now I will note something very interesting. You do have some Alf Clara there for Keech, but we see no defensive units, no anti-air, no recon or anything for Frizzle here. Now what I tend to do on this map is put a single manpad and some scouts here, just in case someone tries to get a chopper around the back, so you can see what's going on. At the moment there is none of that there, so it'd be quite easy to swing an infantry chopper along the back here, land it somewhere here, or even here, and then run your infantry round and get it into here to kill this command vehicle. I will note though, he does have a squad of Zicherungs helping to defend that. In terms of what's going on in the middle of the map, however, we do see some movement here from Keech. He is pushing further forward. I think he's already lost all those tanks that were down here. Oh no, there's one left there. Has he really lost all the other 3? I think he has. I see some wrecks down here, look. He is pushing at all sides right now. I mean, without absolutely hammering these buildings at the front, I think he's going to struggle to get in. He is pushing from all sides at this front edge, but it's going to be a challenge to get in there. Now, equally, obviously, these guys have both been watching other games. Frizzle is pushing at the top, while Keech is pushing at the bottom. We see tanks moving in down the bottom here. Now, the mistake I think that Frizzle might have is that he split his forces up. He has infantry up here and he has tanks and vehicles down here, whereas you've got sort of a mixture of everything for Keech. Now I still think Keech is going to have the harder job because there's just a lot of stuff spread out in the front here, whereas in fairness Keech seems a little bit thin on the ground now and stuff's still moving into position. Really, these tanks coming from this side are going to cause a problem, probably more so than the infantry. I will note that Keech is getting slightly closer to this point though. But really, you need artillery or you need bombers to just absolutely obliterate the buildings at the front of this town just so you can get close to it. And once you're in, but you've got to get close. Charging your infantry in like this is very risky because obviously you're going up against flamethrowers, and these guys don't have satchel charges or anything. I think Keech is going to struggle here. That was a very good combined arms assault, but without softening up this front line first with artillery or indeed HE bombers, it's just not enough. Cluster bomber coming in there, I assume, to take out that Jeopard. No, hit up here. There must have been previously a tank up there which is already dead. Yes, there is one in the building there. I think Keech is in trouble. Frizzle has managed to push in here. There's just not enough anti-tank infantry here, and not enough anti-infantry to stop even just these 3 Panzer Grenadier squads. That is not good. And I mean, if we zoom out now, we can see that realistically, Frizzle just has a lot more on the map right now. He completely outnumbers Keech. I think Keech is in a lot of trouble here. Leopard's pushing up to the back of the point. We'll be taking a lot of fire. Leopards are dead. Fantastic job. He overextended. Keech now needs to push these units back out. He is bringing in a 2A3. He could really do with more infantry there, to be honest. But look at this. Keech has nothing left down here now, and Frizzle is pushing, and unless he decides to back off for some reason, Frizzle could easily keep pushing and take Echo as well. He has more than enough forces there to just keep pushing across the map. He has loads of Marders, loads of Leopards, loads of infantry. I think, you know, at this stage of the game, I imagine Keech is thinking about surrender. I'm not sure. He could drag it out a bit, but I think in the grand scheme of things, Frizzle has won this game. His reinforcements now arriving in Charlie, along with more tanks en route, more infantry en route. Surprised we haven't seen him pull out a command vehicle, to be honest. Yeah, these units are just going to keep pushing. He's going for Echo. Jaeger being called in down here now, but they're not going to stop that onslaught. That is a lot of units. And there's the surrender. Very good game, guys. Really well played to both of you. I really didn't quite know how that was going to go at first when you both did the attack. I think unfortunately Keech, just without softening up that front line enough, there was just too much there to push through that aggressively. But really good attempt. I sometimes wonder if in WARNO, like Wargame, you could get away with smoking in that situation to provide more cover so you can get closer and use things like Pioneers for their satchel charges, but it's difficult to say. But you can see there by the end of the game, obviously the kills to losses were massively in Frizzle's favour. So really well played. Let's hop into the second game. Hi everyone, and welcome back to game 2 of this matchup between Keech and Frizzle. Again, on the right hand side in red we have Keech, now playing as the 5th Panzer Division, and on the left hand side in blue we again have Frizzle playing as the 5th Panzers. A 5th versus 5th matchup in this game. So once again we see Keech pushing hard and securing this point, similar to last time, getting some Milans a little bit further up front hopefully, or is he's still putting them at the back? That is a strange move to me. I would be getting them up here to shoot any incoming tanks. Interesting manoeuvre. Fenspire coming in there. Feels like a lot less units here in this game. We're not seeing as many forward deployed units such as recon units, whereas we still did see Frizzle piling in the recon units into the front of that point to stop Keech being able to get any kind of foothold in that early game. Lots of Pioneer Flam, Pioneer Armbrust and stuff coming up at the back now. We do see some Alf Clara here, but they shouldn't be engaging. They should just be keeping eyes peeled. Some Rolands and a Leopard 2A3 coming in there. Here we just see a Lux and some Fenswehr for Frizzle. I don't think he'll be sending much in over that side for the moment. He'll be wanting to fully secure this side. But honestly, it already looks like he's got a lot there. He has a lot of forward deployed recon. And maybe this is one of the issues that UGen were talking about in their latest dev blog, which you can see on the channel. Frizzle has a lot of these Jaeger Aufkul, and they are very strong squads. They have a lot of people in them. And there is some debate as to whether all of these recon squads should perhaps be a lot smaller, such as full-man squads, rather than having these, you know, huge squads that have a lot of sustainability. It's difficult to say, but I can see why they're also suggesting they would like to change that and not just change the new forward deployment units they've added. Tornado MW1 coming in there, I assume going to take out these units here. Beautiful strike. Again, has probably... Did that do a full strike this time and drop all of its payload? I'm not sure. It is evacing immediately. Anti-air jet coming in a little bit late there. The other jet has evac'd. I'm just a little bit confused. There's a few Leopards here. A Fuchs Milan. A Milan 2 running across here. I'm not sure what Keech is up to in terms of Charlie. I'm a little bit worried he's not putting enough in there. He is moving up a command. And there is a command coming in from Frizzle as well. They're going to reach their points similar times. I think Keech will be a little bit far behind. But it's not going to make too much difference in the points this game. But I am concerned about Keech's lack of units up here. I mean, it's completely fair to say that Frizzle is not bringing any units in at the moment either. MW1 coming in again. Going for these front buildings. Taking a lot of fire from anti-air. And that AA jet. Equally the AA jet being hit by Frizzle's AA jet. I think... Did that die or did it get out? I think it got out just. Did that get out as well? I think it did. I'm just scouting the map. I'm trying to get a feel for what the plan is here. Various reinforcements units coming in for Keech. I think he would like to push into this point again, but he's really going to have to flatten this town. And I'm not a big fan of artillery, but when I'm on this map, I will bring in artillery for Alpha. Because you just have to level the front of this town to be able to get near it. Rocket artillery is good for that because of the explosion damage and the fact that it's fairly controlled. But I just lay waste to this town. It's the only way you're going to get in. I continue to be very concerned about Keech's positioning on this point. Some of the best positioning for this point is actually to push your forces out to these bushes here, like this area, and this area here, because you have this massive open field area to shoot at any incoming tanks. So, you know, get your Milans in there, get your tanks in there, so you can shoot out over this huge open area. It doesn't always cover you up here, but you can potentially shoot across here at units coming this way. But sitting in this point, as I've learnt myself, is not the best idea, because it means that you have sort of all of these bushes covering what you can see. So you do need to push a little bit further forward. Keech pushing this centre point again, it's not a bad idea. It stops reinforcements being brought in this side. Also means you potentially have another way into this point. I'm a little bit concerned about the units that Keech is bringing in here. I've not yet seen any Pioneers. I've not yet seen any Pioneer Flams coming in here. It might be that I've missed it, but I don't think he is bringing any in. And really, if you are going into a deep forest area like this, you cannot bring Pioneer Armbusts. They're anti-tank units. I mean, they fire their armbust 20 rounds a minute. That's twice the speed of most RPGs and stuff. So they are purely an anti-tank or anti-vehicle unit. You don't really want them engaging in this kind of forest fight. You really need flamers or you need satchel charges. That is the meta right now. Good push at this side of the point from Keech. Could he be going in this time? Now this is really interesting. So Frizzle is actually pushing out at the bottom of the point. That's a bold move from him, because he's leaving the relative safety of those buildings. MW1 coming in there. That was a HE bomber. It did drop its bombs at the frontier. Has done a bit of damage to those infantry squads. Keech did a good job pushing this side. He's still using those tanks to push and do some damage. Frizzle is pulling back though. He is going back to the safety of those buildings. I'm very concerned about these units pushing up here. Again, I'm seeing Keech bringing in Jaeger there. Keech, please bring in something that is anti-infantry. In fairness, he's lucky at the moment because those Pioneer Flams are out of hand flam patrons. So unless Frizzle brings in some supply for those, they won't be as effective. Keech keeping up the pressure, which is really good. Really keeping up the pressure here. Units firing into these buildings. Has managed to kill one squad. Pushing up again. Some fire support going to be coming from that Leopard 2A3 there. 2A3 coming up here will make short work of these Leopard 1A5s unless they get shots off first. Very concerned about them. I don't know if he's seen that. He does have that Milan 2 there. He has realised he is reversing rapidly. Keech might get in with these units here. He is getting very close to the buildings now. I really wish he was bringing in some flamers or some satchel charge units though. It would make his life so much easier. As long as he could get them close to the buildings. And now would be the time. He is in the buildings. Now is the time. If he had flamers, Pioneer Flams coming in, so he's going to be going up against them. He really needs to have them as well. He also needs squads with multiple machine guns. Currently he's only got the MG3s in singular. These units pushing up now, as I expected they might. He will want to try and get a piece of that command vehicle. If they have their weapons turned off, I'm not sure they do. HE Bomber coming in there to take them out. He does know they're there. HE Bomber is probably going to miss. No, he got one squad. Oh, very nice. He got the armbust. And that was honestly the squad he needed to kill, because these guys are going to be pretty useless on their own. Building to building combat going on in this middle point here, but those hand flam patrons are now in position. They will do a lot of damage to these units. More reinforcements coming in, though not significant quantities for Keech, but we're not going to see a push on Charlie at the moment, because realistically Frizzle needs to reinforce this point because Keech is in it. I think the biggest issue that Keech has right now is he hasn't moved up all of these squads. He's obviously keeping somebody in defensive position, but really he needs to move everything up. He is just repairing these squads actually, so that's not a bad idea. He's not giving support with those tanks at the moment though. He's got a tank there. He's got a 2A3 there that needs repairing, which is fair enough. 1A5 there is intact. He could do with moving that up. We are seeing a load of units being called in at this far side now. We're seeing M48s. We're seeing lots of Panzer Grenadiers. I assume he's going to try and make a push on Charlie. Not a bad idea. There isn't a lot there. And he has managed to fend off the push at this bottom point. Keech's reinforcements tied up with these hand flam patron guys. I mean, Keech significantly outnumbers them, but he is tying up four squads of infantry there. That's a lot of infantry to be missing. MW1 coming, no, HE coming in, sorry, and an AA. Going for these front buildings. A lovely strike, managed to kill those guys at the front. They weren't in a building. Cluster coming in there, I assume to take out that 2A3. 2A3 is reversing. Are those bombs going to hit the mark? No, he has missed, and he has lost the cluster jet. Keech managing to keep that pressure up. I've got to give him credit for this. He is still pushing in, still being fairly aggressive, is keeping some squads there. More reinforcements are arriving. He just needs to keep up this pressure. I'm still very impressed he managed to push in without just flattening the entire front of that town. Unfortunately, at this side, he has a lot of forces coming in from Frizzil. Frizzil has taken the advantage, realizing that a lot of Keech's expenditure has gone into Alpha. The question is now, can Keech push Alpha while he's losing Charlie? Because there's no way he has enough forces to defend Charlie. There just isn't. He's going to do some damage, but he doesn't have enough there. That's his only defensive squad there. He has HE bomber coming in. Unless he has an army of bombers to come in here, he's in trouble. Calling in reinforcements, bringing over the Leopard to a 3, a good tactic. Will potentially do a lot of damage to these two squads. Milan is coming across. He only has one missile left. Is he hitting that tank? Beautiful. Tank is dead. Frizzil knows what he's going for. He's going to find that command vehicle. He wants it dead. Here, more reinforcements arriving from Frizzil as well. I think Keech is in trouble again here. He needs to push hard to get back into Charlie. But he also equally needs to try and push and get into Alpha. Command vehicle is about to go down. There it goes. Points will now start ticking up for Frizzil. +3. Reinforcements coming in for Charlie, for Frizzil as well. Plenty of reinforcements here, including Marders, which will be putting down a lot of suppressive fire on those Jaeger. Marders still proving their worth. They just keep up that rapid fire with those cannons. Reinforcements have arrived. Oh, that was unfortunate. That's a squad of infantry lost. Keech, obviously watching another part of the map, didn't get them to deploy immediately as they got there, so did lose the squad. That's unfortunate. Jaeger Aufkel at this side will provide some defense, especially if those Panzer Grenadiers just roll straight past. However, there are more here coming along a different road in Marders. Marders doing a fantastic job against these infantry, though he is pushing up fairly close, getting them into risky territory because it is possible that he can be shot. Oh, not at the moment. The rocket launcher is only 705 and he's pulling back. Leopard 2A3 coming across to try and provide some fire support, and a Leopard 2A3 here. Big heavy hitters coming in. Will make very short work of those Marders. Just having a look at what else is going on. Seaplane coming in. Will be hitting that. I think it was going for that Roland. Seaplane shouldn't go for a Roland 2. Roland 2s aren't radar. Perhaps it... Or maybe there was a Jeopard there. Oh, there was a Jeopard there. That's okay. I was very confused. I thought it was trying to hit the Roland. Keech, pushing back into this, has managed to kill all but one squad. That squad is routing. Leopard 2A3 providing fire support. Needs to push up harder. Needs to stop these Panzer Grenadier Marders coming in. He knows they're there. He needs to push up and kill them. He also needs to get these forces right up here to the front. Has recapped that point. Frizzil still ahead. 326 points. Keech still keeping up the pressure on this point. Getting some units around the back here. I'm not sure if he has enough forces to push through this open area without providing some smoke or something. He has managed to recap and resecure this point though. His forces should be able to hold, but really he needs to be at the other end of this town, in the buildings, to stop Frizzle even being able to get in. And he needs to be careful with that 2A3 now they're already up here. It's certainly out of the range currently, but he needs to be careful. Lots of fire support from the tanks here firing into the town. He is getting closer again. He is doing a good job. 2 tanks coming in now for Frizzle. That was a HE bomber coming in as well. Striking that unit there has killed that squad, flattened the building. Some Panzer Grenadiers surviving. 1 Jaeger squad at this side, taking a lot of fire from these 3 squads. Leopard 2A3 providing fire support though, has flattened that building that they were in. Lots of armbrusts coming in now. Not bad units. Leopard 2A3 close to this town, needs to be careful with that. Over at this side, good. Keech has pushed those units forward, all in a big group together, providing lots of covering fire. I think he's got that pretty secure now. He just needs to remember to split his forces sensibly, needs to make sure he puts a few in here, but also continue this aggressive push. He's doing a really good job. Still, I've not seen a lot of Pioneers, if any, from Keech here, and I've not seen any Pioneer Flams, which seems really weird. He seems to be relying purely on Jaeger and Pioneer Armbrust. I'm not sure why. Don't get me wrong, machine guns are better in this new patch with Murat, but nothing compares to Pioneers. He is finally calling some in there by the looks of it. But you can just run Pioneers through a town and they throw their satchel charges left, right and centre and destroy everything. Infantry doesn't stand a chance against them. Unless I'm mistaken, it's still the meta. Which I still think is a ridiculous thing to say, but it's true. Random jets being taken out by air defences. Much better air defences this time from Keech. Obviously he's lost his Jeopards, but still has those Roland 2s. Roland 2's a very good unit. Loads of Zisharungs there. What is he doing with them? Changing the way they're going into the point for a start. Oh, Panzer Grenadiers ran straight around the back, killed the command. +3 again to Frizzle. Frizzle doing a really good job here at being sneaky with those Panzer Grenadiers at the top of the map. I assume he will bring in another command to take that shortly. But look down here. Look at this push. These units doing a really good job. Ooh. Just trying to get a nice zoom in on this guy. There we go. Look at them go. Pioneer Ambush Pioneers have arrived. Deploy them, yes. Now charge them at the enemy. You don't want to be away from them, you want to charge them so they can fire their satchel charges. Those satchel charges don't have a massive range. They're not in range, you see. Satchel charges range 175 meters. So he needs to get closer. Pioneer, there we go. These ones are getting close enough. Oh no, they're Pioneer Armbusts. Move your Pioneers, man. Move your Pioneers. That's such a shame. I mean, he's going to win the fight, but he would have lost less forces moving those Pioneers up. These Panzer Grenadiers causing all kinds of problems over in this point, but Keech should be able to take this. 2 Leopard 2A3s there coming in to provide fire support. Keech will have issues for his 2A3 there. Can't really fight against 2 of them. Leopard 2A3 and a 1F5 coming in at this side. Still a big fight for this point. Fizzle knows that he is a little bit in trouble, I think, down here. Oh, nice strike. Has managed to rout that. So has brought in a command up there. Command coming in for Keech as well. But right now, Fizzle is further ahead. But equally, it's on the other foot this time, because Fizzle is much lower in points of units on the field. Keech has a lot more forces to play with. But he needs to push hard and fast. He needs to be aggressive here. He needs to get close to these leopards to be doing damage to them. These pioneers not remotely being used to any effect. They are stood back away from units. They need to be up close and personal, people. You cannot engage these guys at long range. They are all about the satchel charges. You have to get them up close and personal. Very nice strike there from a HE bomber. Has forced the leopard to rout. This command will die, or should die. I think he's gonna... Yes, it's dead. I thought he might have got it out there, but it is dead. This point counter-capped. Will be +3 to Keech. Finally in this game. Keech now firmly in control of this point. Needs to get some long-range units up at the front here to stop reinforcements coming in, but also needs to rapidly reinforce this point. Rapidly reinforce it. Leopard 2A3 doing a good job at fire support. Pioneers coming in. I hope he uses those pioneers properly, as he will very quickly clear this town. Here, very good control of this town. Leopards, he could do with one of these leopards up here if he can get one up that's repaired. Anti-tank jet coming in. Will want a piece of that Leopard 2A3, I assume. Veering off, interestingly, and being evac'd. Pioneers being dropped off at the back here. He needs to push those up quickly. There are Zisharungs coming in. Those pioneers will absolutely wreck those Zisharungs if they get close enough. HE bomber hanging around in the back there. Loads of tanks coming in for Frizzle here. I'm not sure what his plan is. He seems to be pushing them over towards this point rather than up here. Loads of Zisharungs coming in here. The Zisharungs obviously aren't very good against vehicles because they only have the rifles. But he needs to get those pioneers moving. Command vehicle being moved into a better position. So anti-air combat going on over here. HE bomber still flittering around at the back. Okay, so those tanks are now being moved in towards Charlie. Still +3 to Keech. I mean, for me right now, Keech has the map control. He has more units on the map. He technically, for me, is going to win. I would potentially expect a surrender from Frizzle at some point soon. However, he's putting up a good fight, and there's every chance he could fully secure this point. It really depends. That leopard still dishing out the damage. Needs to be careful. Lots of pioneers coming in. He really needs to move those pioneers up. Keech, move your pioneers up, man. They're not throwing their satchel charges. You'd have killed all of these if they were just a bit closer. There it is. That was the surrender from Frizzle. Understandable. Significant kills to losses difference there. About 3,000. Really well played to both players. Frizzle, you held off for as long as you could. You even managed to push back the first attack from Keech. But Keech just had the advantage there. He kept that pressure up, and it does make such a difference. And can we just have a look here at the Leopard 2A3's kills? Once again, proving how ridiculously good they are. Leopard 1A5 doing a really good job. Leopard 2A3 doing a really good job. Leopard 2A3 doing a really good job. All those kills, the fire support they provide is just fantastic. Really good games, guys. You both played so well. You both each deserved your wins. So, one match to each of you. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please do like, share, and subscribe